friends, how are you? Welcome to Changing Tracks. Today we have with us Damien Richardson. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Christine. It's great to be here.
Okay, Damien, start from the beginning. Your childhood, adolescence. Was your family Catholic?
Yeah. No, I was from a Catholic family. I had two other siblings, one older brother, one younger sister. We grew up in North Dublin, and it was a good family home. I felt loved in the home and that. When I was 13 years of age, my mother and father separated, and there was financial difficulties. The house was leaking, and there's a few different issues going on. So my mother left the family home, and he brought the three children with her. We moved into my grandparents' house, and it was a kind of an inner city area that we moved into, and it was difficulties, a lot of difficulties. I missed my father and stuff, so there's a lot going on inside me. And I suppose at 13 years of age, you can't really understand, what's happening, and I went to a new school. It was an inner city school, it was a tough school, and I had to adapt to that as well, so it was quite challenging, I did join a boxing club in the school, and I done a little boxing, so I could handle myself in that sense, but I wasn't very academic when I was younger, and when I was 15 years of age, I left school early, with no qualifications, nothing really, and with no interest in school in that sense. So I left at 15, and with a few small jobs, nothing really serious, that way. And I started getting into trouble, with the cops and that, and different things, traits come out inside me, antisocial behaviour and that, and that's the way I was living that was my kind of teenage years,
Okay, when you were young, did you ever have any kind of relationship with God, or did it go away when you started getting into trouble?
When I was younger, the family did go to, there was a period when we did go to Mass as a family when I was younger. And my father in particular, he was always praying and stuff. So I would have known the rose as a child, and I would have prayed as a child, But kind of when I finished school, I stopped practicing. I stopped going to Mass and that, and I wouldn't have been practicing at all, That would have been brought me up to about 18 years of age, and into Dublin especially. There was a rave culture. These ecstasy tablets come into Dublin, and I started going to these rave parties. And basically what they were was, you could have 1,000 kids in the hall, and be all taking these ecstasy tablets, and there'd be techno music and flashing lights, and it's kind of very attractive. It was, I was a young kid in that, and I used to take these tablets, and you'd be on a high, you would be, and I says, this is what life is about, this is what it was created for, and just to feel happy and have this constant euphoria, But I noticed myself, I kept going to these rave parties every weekend, and I noticed inside I got very depressed, I was getting very depressed, very angry and different things. So I was doing that for about 6 months, and I was getting in trouble with the police, and my life was kind of hectic at the moment. And I went back to a party one night, and there was guys smoking this liquid substance on tinfoil, and I asked what it was. They said it was heroin. Do you want to have a shot of this heroin? So I says, yeah, give it a go. So I started smoking this heroin, and I was doing that for a few months then, and had the opposite effect of these ecstasy tablets, it could make you more slow you down and that. And I was doing that for a few months then, and then it escalated then to using a needle, and my life totally changed when I started becoming an intravenous heroin abuser, every moral I ever had just went out the window, I got into trouble, I ended up in prison. By the age of 21, I was through the gates of 4 different prisons in Dublin, just life was just hectic, That's the way my life was going, and all this time, my father was a good man, Every priest he met, he said, get a mass for Damien, he's in drugs, he's in prison, Father, will you pray for Damien? And everyone he met, he was getting the praying for me, And I didn't see my father much these times. I'd see him every 2-3 months. I was very selfish, and I was carrying on. So one day he approached me, and he was in a prayer group in Dublin, and someone in the prayer group showed him a video of Medjugorje. And on the video of Medjugorje, there was two American girls speaking, and they had saying that they had been up to all sorts, were on drugs, and they were living a very promiscuous lifestyle. And they had been to Medjugorje, and they had completely changed their life. So my dad said, right, I have to get Damien to Medjugorje. So that was the last place on the planet we wanted to go. I knew anything with my dad, be praying and stuff, and kind of that wasn't where I was living.
Obviously, you didn't want to go to Medjugorje, but at the same time, did you want to get out of the world of drugs?
At that time, I was happy enough to be in it, if I'm being honest. This was the path I had chose, and it was could have been a bit exciting even. You're living a drug lifestyle and that. And again, I would have been only 22 at the time, 23. So I was very immature when I was younger. So at that moment, I was kind of happy to be in that lifestyle. It was very glamorous. What I was carrying on and that. And so he approached me and he says, Damien, I want to bring you to Medjugorje. And I was like, no way, you're not going to no holy place with him. I know what that's going to be like, praying and stuff. So he showed me brochures of the Croatia beaches, and he kind of tricked me into going. He says, that's Medjugorje, and there was lovely women on beaches and all these kind of things and stuff. So I was right, it doesn't look too bad, I said. And again, I didn't want to go, but he booked me the ticket for me, and it was August 1996. I was 23, I'd just gone 23, and I said, will I go and that, but he had booked the ticket, and he said, I'll meet you out the airport. And even before I got on the plane, I was smoking heroin at the back of the airport with my pals, And I said, will I go here and that, but I felt a guilt inside me that I had let him down so many times to meet up for a cup of coffee, and I wouldn't see him for 2 or 3 months, and I wouldn't meet up with him. So I felt very heavy, I have to go to this place, I don't want to go, but I felt the conscience coming back, So I actually went to Medjugorje. I went on the plane, and I was full of drugs on the plane. And I just remember waking up on the bus from the coach from Croatia to Medjugorje to the sounds of the rosary, Holy Mary. I said, Jeannie Mac, what am I have to get myself into, So that was my first experience in Medjugorje,
Okay, so you got to Medjugorje. Did anything happen there? Did you have an experience with our Lord, or did you come back home and everything stays the same?
Yeah. When I got to Medjugorje, the first hour, I went up and down the village, and I came back to my dad, and I was, I hated the place, I hate my dad, full of anger. I was cursing at him, I hate myself. And with the effects of the drugs, I couldn't sleep for 3 days, Every night I couldn't sleep. The heat was August, it was 1996, and the weather was very humid, and it was, for an Irish guy, it can be kind of very, very much when I got used to that. So I couldn't sleep for the first 3 days, the effects of the drugs, and every night I would walk up and down the main street in Medjugorje, and I had a lot of dark thoughts in my head, a lot of dark stuff and that. But one morning, on the third morning in particular, it was about maybe 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and I just slept at the bench where the lady was in Medjugorje, and I slept there maybe for an hour or maybe 2 hours. And I remember it was about 5 a.m. in the morning. I just woke up and I opened my eyes, and I just got a sense of peace in my heart that I haven't experienced since I was a child. Just this peace. The sun was shining on my face. There was little birds chirping around me, and I just felt something in my heart I hadn't experienced in many years. So that morning I went back to the hotel, and I woke my dad up about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I remember he looked into my eyes and he could see something. He said, "You okay, son?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay. I just had a bit of a sleep there, and I feel a little bit better this morning." So he says, "Will you come to Holy Mass with me this morning?" And we said, "Right, I'll go to Mass with you." And that. So we went to Holy Mass in St. James's. The 10 o'clock is the English speaking Mass. It was the third morning. And, during the embrace, when you shake hands, I turned around. There was another Irish guy behind me. And I knew he was Irish, his complexion, So I shook his hands. And then after Holy Mass, he was waiting at the door for me outside the church in St. James's, Medjugorje. So he introduced himself. He said, "Hi, my name is Bill Connors. I'm from Ireland." And he says, "I'm from Kilkenny." He said, "Where are you guys from?" So we said, well, obviously he knew we're Irish. And we said we're from Dublin and that. So he said to me, he said, "Have you been to Blue Cross Mountain?" And I said, "No." "Have you been to Aberration Hill?" I said, "No." And he was like, "Have you done anything?" And I was like, "No." So my dad kind of pushed him, and says, "Take Damien off for the day, So Bill was a lovely guy. He was from the travelling community in Ireland, and he brought me off the day. And he was an amazing guy, he was, you know, really loved his faith, he loved that lady. And he started telling me how much a lady loved me. He started telling me a lady had a big plan for me. And so I was with that guy for a week, Bill Connors. And, you know, I met some beautiful people from U2000 that week. And so something did change in me that week, you know. Also, I was seeing, on the last day I was there, I was seeing a very horrific, I was seeing an exorcism, a young lady sat beside me, and I was seeing something very graphic, something very supernatural. And that had a big impact on me. I also got to stay a second week for free. There was about 15 people in there, young people from the pilgrimage, the Irish pilgrimage, and we were asked to stay a second week, and so that had a big impact on me. So that was 2 weeks in Medjugorje, another week of Providence in 1996, you know.
So I take it that things changed when you came back from Medjugorje?
When I come back to Dublin, you know, something changed inside me that first initial 2 weeks, you know, and it was like an illumination of conscience, you know, that's the only way I can explain it, that I knew right from wrong, you know. It was different things that I would have behaved before I went out that I didn't behave when I come back, you know, had a big impact on me. And I come back to Dublin and I did struggle with addiction, you know, but there was a lot of stuff. I never stole after that or anything, but I struggled, I just fell back into the heroin. During this time, I met my girlfriend at that time, and she also was a heroin addict, and she was from Dublin also. We met through a mutual friend, you know. So just two of us just fell into just the snares of addiction again, you know. During that period, we had our first child, and we did go back to Medjugorje, me and my girlfriend, every year for 6 years. We went back to Medjugorje, and although the two of us were still on methadone, we kept going back. And, you know, it was like recharging the batteries, you know, that kind of by that time in my life, you know, it was a very low period. I was just on methadone for 6 years. And it was like Christine being sedated all the time, you know. It's just, you just drink this medicine every morning, it's methadone, and it's kind of substitute for heroin. So that was a kind of very dark place in my life, you know.
During this time period, is God in your life at all besides going to Medjugorje?
Kind of, but you know, I was still living in sin and stuff, and but I was chasing after him. You know, I was chasing after him. Things did change, you know.
Okay, so how did you get from there to being completely free from drugs?
Yeah, bringing it forward a few years then to 2002. You know, I had been on the methadone for 6 years and had been on drugs maybe for 15 years, and it had this impact physically, mentally, emotionally. You know, I was just very broken in 2002, and I kind of had a nervous breakdown, you know. I was just very, very suicidal, you know. I used to wake up every morning and, you know, say, today's the day I want to kill myself, I can't be in this world and stuff. And I was in so much emotional pain that I couldn't kill this pain with alcohol, I couldn't kill it with drugs, I just couldn't, you know. I didn't want to be on this planet anymore. And I thought the only way to kill the pain was to kill the body, you know, but thankfully I didn't do that. Within 3 days of this breakdown, once again, my younger sister brought me back to Medjugorje, and I was out there for a week, and I kind of recuperated a little bit, you know. During that time, when I was in Medjugorje, I went up to visit the Cenaculo community. Now, I had visited on previous occasions, but never really took it serious, you know. I had visited a few times, and you know, I went up, spoke with one of the lads there. I said, my name is Damien, I'm from Dublin, you know, I'm a drug addict, and I'm very, very suicidal, and I can't find a way out, you know, just couldn't stop taking these drugs, you know. So he said something to me that I'll never forget. He says, Damien, he says, the drugs will always be there, you know, you have to change your life, come back to God, you know. And in the next sentence he told me that, he says, did you know we opened a community Cenaculo house in Ireland only last year, you know, so that's something I wasn't aware of. So I said to him, how do I get in contact with these guys in Ireland? So he gave me a phone number, and when I got back to Dublin, I rang the community, and I got talking to one of the lads there. I said, listen, I'm a drug addict, I'm Irish, I'm on drugs for 15 years, you know, how do I enter the community? So he said you have to go to assessment meetings in Dublin for maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and you have to detox off all the drugs, and then we'll assess you and take you in, you know. So when I come back to Ireland, that's what I done. I contacted the lads in the Irish house, and I done a detox for 4 or 5 weeks. That was excruciating, the detox of the drugs. I think especially if you're on heroin or methadone. A lot of people don't realise, they say like, you know, why don't you just stop taking this drug, you know? But when you've been on it for many years, it gets into your bones, and the pain of it is excruciating. You know, your body breaks down, your body is craving for this substance, you know. So, you know, you won't sleep for 3 or 4 weeks. You've diarrhea, you're vomiting and stuff. So it was very difficult, you know. It was excruciating, especially the methadone. It's a pure substance, and you know, you're trying to. But again, I think my dad was praying for me, and he had a whole country praying for me and stuff. So that really helped me, you know.
So you did the detox and then went to the Cenaculo community. Yeah. How was your experience there?
Yeah, first went into Cenaculo, you know, I was very broken. As I said, I had been on drugs for 15 years, and I think it takes all your it's like, it sucks all your self-confidence away, you know, so it's shattered, very broken, you know. So I entered the community, and I have to say the guys were very good to me, you know. I didn't cause any trouble, I was just very broken, you know. And, you know, the guys showed me a lot of love, you know, a lot of compassion, and they could see that I needed a bit of a space to be built up, you know. The Cenaculo, you know, just to share a little bit about it, it was started by my mother Elvira over 30 years ago. She's an Italian sister, and she had a big desire in her heart to work with young people, you know, people who's maybe lost in life, addicts and that. So she started the first house in Cenaculo in North Italy, and I think the following year she opened her house in Medjugorje. And I think it just exploded. Once it got to Medjugorje, it went around the world, you know. So I think there's over 70 houses around the world, you know. So Cenaculo would be a Catholic community, but they welcome people of all faiths, you know. There's Protestants there, there's Muslims, there's every faith. And I think most lads and girls going into it, you know, where only God is when we win is drugs, you know, if we're being honest, you know. So we live a community life, a Catholic community life. The day would start, you go up at 6 a.m. in the morning. You're going to have a wash maybe, and you go into the chapel then, and we'd open the tabernacle. All the Cenaculo house would be Jesus centered in the Eucharist, you know. So every time we pray, we open the tabernacle. So we pray the first rosary, the joyful mysteries, and then we might do, you know, the gospel reading of the day and maybe share then. And then 8 o'clock then we go in for breakfast. One of the guys will be on breakfast duty, and then we go into put on our work clothes and go out and work, and most of them would be kind of farm orientated, you know. They'd have stables there with different animals. All the guys, we work in tours, you know, we always work together, you know. We could be on farm duties, we could be, you know, doing building work around the house maybe. We could be doing cleaning duties. Maybe 1 or 2 guys could be in the kitchen then, and 2 guys would be on house duties, you know. So when I entered down and knocked, there was 16 lads in the house, I think from something like 8 nationalities, you know. So that was amazing for a Dublin guy to be living with all these Italians, Croatians and stuff, and Polish guys. So that was a few Mexican guys we had as well, South African guys. So that was amazing for me to hear different cultures, you know, how they live as well, you know. So yeah, that was it. So I was in Knock-I-Was for 1 year, and then I got transferred over to the big house in Medjugorje. And I think when I was in that house, there was 125 lads from 26 nationalities. So that was just amazing, you know, to be with these guys from different nationalities, and you know, we're all the same at the end of the day, if I'm being honest, you know.
Okay, so Cenaculo helps you to leave drugs, but your reconciliation with God? How did that come about?
Yeah, that would have been in Cenaculo as well, you know. As I said, I did know the faith from a child and that, but you know, I think Cenaculo is about being honest, you know, being honest with yourself and everyone else. And you know, in Cenaculo, you don't pat you on the back and say, Damien, a great fella. They might challenge you, you know, say, point out stuff that I find difficult, you know, moments when I'm lazy, moments when, we don't know, whatever it could be, you know, that I have to look into myself, you know. So it's quite challenging in community, you know. And there was moments there, difficult moments, where I went in the chapel and I cried and I said, God, I need strength, I need help with this, you know. So did I find the true faith, being true with myself, you know. Those beautiful moments there, moments of adoration. But I'd say in the community there was moments of healing for me, where, you know, as I said, I was very broken, where through the adoration, you know, we do lots of adoration and stuff, and where I felt healed, you know, that well, I know we're always wounded, but a good part of the wound was healing there, if that makes sense.
And now, where do you find yourself after all of that?
Yeah, so after that, after community, when I exited community, my girlfriend and their first child were staying in my dad's house. So I I came out community then, and the first thing I wanted to do was get good with God. I wanted to get married. That was a big desire I had. So I had no money at all. I had been in drugs for 15 years. So I started my own small little business. I started a waste disposal company in Dublin, and I had a small little truck, and I used to, clean houses out, clean offices out, clean restaurants out, clean back gardens out, and I really done very well. My bank account went from zero right up. So I think it was about 2 years after exiting community, or a year after exit community, we got married, to myself and Mary, and we had a beautiful wedding. We went on a honeymoon. We went to 3 days to Dubrovnik in Croatia, and then the other 4 days we went to Medjugorje, and we just wanted to thank Our Lady for getting us clean, getting us back to life, So I was working. I joined during that time as well. I joined the Legion of Mary in Dublin, and I was in the Legion of Mary for 10 years, and I felt that really helpful to me as well, to bring me on a journey as well. And I used to do voluntary work in the homeless shelters in Dublin, in the Morning Star homeless shelter, and I met some great people there who really, really helped me, on my journey,
What would you say to a person who finds themselves lost in drugs and they think that there's no way out, or maybe they think they're happy, like what you said? What would you say to them?
I know what today, I call it greatness, I call it more than just what life has to offer us today, and a lot of the guys I grew up with, they're all dead now. You're dead through violence, through sickness, through suicide, and I feel sorry for that I got a second chance and they didn't, and I feel when I was younger, I bought into a lie, I was sold a lie that this is going to make you happy and this is what you're created for, and I wasn't, that I was created for greatness, that God is really real there, and that, this it's tough, it's tough being a Catholic, especially in Ireland today, but the joy is way out the negatives, really, really and truly, and there is help, there's always help, and there's great organisations, Community Cenaculo, it's all over Europe or in America, and so that could be an option for them if they're caught in a rut, but there's always hope, that's something I know now, no matter what situation life throws us, there's always hope. God is there, God is real,
And your family? What's your family life like now?
So now our family life, we've been blessed. As I said, after we got married then, we've been blessed. We have 10 children at the moment. We have 9 of our own, and we have 1 foster child, and we have 1 baby on the way, So the house here, it's crazy in a good way, We have our eldest girl is 20 years of age now, and she's actually a missionary now, so she's been doing mission work for the last 2 years here in Ireland, and she's with an organisation called Net Ministries, and she lives in community with other teenagers like herself, and she goes out to help the Irish people to bring them back to the faith and that, so she's a big gift for us to have, and she's very mature and she's very helpful. And then we have 9 children in the house under 14 years of age, so it's just crazy. There's lots of excitement and stuff, and there's never a dull moment, that's for sure. There's never a moment to feel depressed or anything. There's always a lot of activities, One other thing just to share with you, we got a big gift during the summer here in Dublin. It was the Festival of Families, the World Meeting of Families with the Holy Father, and every 3 years they held it around the world, So this year it was in Dublin, and they chose 5 families from every continent around the world. So myself, my wife and my children, we got the gift to share their testimony, and it was called Witness to Hope, and we got to share their testimony with the world and with the Holy Father. So that was just an amazing gift, that just, even as I'm sharing it with you now, Christine, it's very surreal, to think that this actually happened to us. So we got to meet the Holy Father, and he gave the whole 12 of us gifts of rosary beads, and we got to sit with him for over an hour or so. So that's just phenomenal for me, I don't think there's anything else until I meet the Lord or Our Lady that could, match that in any way, So all I can say is God is good, God is real, and life is tough. It's tough being a Catholic, it can be moments of it, but at the end of the day, God is real, and He just loves us daily,
Damien, thank you so much for your testimony. I'm sure that it's going to help so many people. It's a great example for us. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Friends, don't lose hope. God is at our side. He does have a plan for us. He does give us a second chance. Thanks to Our Lady, who is always looking out for us. Because it would be a disaster if she didn't. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. So commit yourselves. Commit yourselves with what? To our Lord and Our Lady. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks.